making this happen. Of course, the funders who allowed this to happen, that's both the MRC and the National Institute of Health Research, NIHR. Actually, thank some of the other people involved behind the scenes as well, such as Jonathan Van Tam, and most importantly, the patients who volunteered to be part of this study. But rather than me talk about it, it's much more important to hear from Peter Horby, who led this and really has driven the whole thing through. Peter.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm co-chief investigator of the recovery trial with Professor Martin Landry, and we've been supported by an absolutely fantastic team in Oxford and also across the entire NHS, because the trial has been implemented across all countries in the United Kingdom, more than 175 hospitals, with tremendous efforts by NHS staff who are under enormous pressure to actually talk to patients, tell them about the benefits of getting good clinical trial evidence to make sure we have the best treatments and getting them into the trial. And I think we've broken some records. So in 3 months, we've enrolled over 11,500 patients. So this makes it by far the biggest clinical trial in the world. And we've been testing 6 different drugs. A couple of weeks ago, we declared an answer on hydroxychloroquine, showing that in hospitalised patients it doesn't work. And this week, we've got some news on dexamethasone, which, as we've heard, is a steroid drug. It's an old drug. Some people would say it's a very boring drug. It's been around for 60-odd years. It's very cheap. It costs pounds, and overseas it costs pennies. And so we closed that arm of the trial on Monday, the 8th of June, because we had enrolled more than 2,000 patients on dexamethasone, and we compared them to 4,000 patients who had standard of care. And what we saw was really quite remarkable. So we've looked at different treatment groups, and the drug has a different treatment effect in different treatment groups. So in ventilated patients with COVID-19, the drug dexamethasone, so 10 days of treatment with that, which is a tablet or an injection, reduces the risk of death by about 35%. In patients on the ward who require oxygen and have COVID, it reduces the risk of death by about 20%. That covers about 75% of patients in the hospital who will receive a mortality benefit from using this drug. There's another group of patients who don't require oxygen but have COVID, and we did not see a benefit in those patients. So it's not a drug that you would use in the community or in outpatients or in patients on the ward who didn't have breathing difficulties. But in patients with breathing difficulties who require oxygen or ventilation, it really is showing quite a significant effect. And it's really important because the drug itself is very widely available. It's on almost every pharmacy shelf in every hospital. It's available throughout the world, and it's extremely cheap. So we've looked at the numbers, and if we treat 8 patients in intensive care with this drug, we'll save 1 life. And the total cost of treating all 8 patients is only about £40. So this is really, really remarkable, and we're extremely pleased with this result. We're continuing with the trial because we have still 4 other drugs in the trial. And what we hope is we can build on this very strong foundation with adding additional drugs and continue to bring down the case fatality rate. And so I think this is a really good news that we've now got a treatment that almost every patient can take, and they will get benefit from it.
I'll just add a couple of things to that. The important thing is this is the first medicine that's been shown to reduce death in any group with COVID, and that's the start of something. So it shows this is possible to do, and as other drugs get looked at, the hope is that they'll add on top of that, and you'll add beyond the 25 or 35% change that Peter's talked about. So this is the start of something important. It shows it is possible to reduce the inflammation and the outcome in patients with lung disease in hospital, and it's the start of other drugs which might be added on top of it to make an even bigger effect in due course, we hope.
Thanks very much, Peter and Patrick. And we're going to go